The dismissal of Kristi Noem as U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security has become one of the most controversial political developments in Washington in 2026, triggering widespread debate over leadership, immigration policy, and federal law enforcement oversight. The decision by President Donald Trump to remove Noem from the powerful cabinet role came after weeks of mounting pressure from lawmakers, growing public scrutiny, and a series of contentious hearings on Capitol Hill. Please subscribe, like, and share for more updates. Thanks. Noem, the former governor of South Dakota, was appointed to lead the United States Department of Homeland Security at the beginning of Trump's second presidential term in early 2025. Her appointment was widely seen as a signal that the administration intended to take an aggressive stance on immigration enforcement and border security. Throughout her tenure, Noem strongly defended the administration's policies aimed at tightening migration controls along the southern border and expanding federal enforcement operations across the United States. However, her leadership soon became the subject of intense political controversy. Critics within Congress accused her department of operating with limited transparency, particularly regarding enforcement operations that targeted undocumented migrants, as well as individuals suspected of assisting illegal crossings. Several lawmakers also raised concerns about internal management problems inside DHS and the way high-profile security operations were being communicated to the public. The immediate crisis that accelerated her removal involved a controversial federal enforcement operation in Minneapolis that resulted in the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens. According to initial reports, federal agents were conducting an operation related to suspected domestic security threats when the confrontation occurred. The incident sparked outrage after family members and local officials argued that the victims had been wrongly identified and that federal authorities had failed to properly verify their identities before the operation was carried out. As the story spread across national media, members of Congress from both parties demanded answers. Lawmakers questioned whether the Department of Homeland Security had incorrectly labeled the individuals as domestic extremists and whether the department attempted to obscure key details following the operation. The controversy quickly evolved into a major political crisis, with congressional committees launching inquiries into the incident and calling senior officials to testify. During a heated Senate oversight hearing, Noem faced tough questioning from lawmakers regarding the department's handling of the operation and broader issues surrounding DHS policy decisions. Among those raising concerns was Markwayne Mullin, a Republican senator from Oklahoma, who later emerged as a central figure in the leadership change that followed. The hearing became one of the most contentious congressional sessions involving DHS leadership in recent years. Another major issue that fueled criticism involved a multi-million-dollar public relations campaign launched by the Department of Homeland Security. The campaign, reportedly costing more than $200 million, focused on promoting the administration's immigration enforcement strategy and warning migrants against attempting to enter the United States illegally. Several advertisements prominently featured Noem herself, which critics argue blurred the line between public information and political promotion. During testimony before Congress, Noem stated that the advertising campaign had received approval from the president. However, Trump later denied authorizing the initiative, creating an uncomfortable political dispute within the administration. The contradiction intensified criticism from lawmakers who questioned whether DHS had misused federal funds or acted without proper oversight. The combination of the Minneapolis controversy, the disputed advertising campaign, and growing frustration inside the White House ultimately led to Noem's dismissal from the cabinet. Administration officials framed the move as part of a broader leadership reset aimed at strengthening the Department of Homeland Security at a time when immigration enforcement and national security remain among the most politically sensitive issues in the country. Following Noem's removal, Trump announced that Senator Markwayne Mullin would be nominated to take over leadership of the Department of Homeland Security. Mullin, a former mixed martial arts fighter turned politician, has built a reputation in Washington as a strong supporter of the president's immigration policies and a vocal advocate for tougher border enforcement measures. His nomination signals that the administration plans to continue its aggressive approach toward immigration control and national security operations. Despite being removed from the cabinet role, Noem was not completely pushed out of the administration. Instead, She was appointed to a newly created diplomatic position as the United States Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. The initiative is designed to coordinate security cooperation among countries across the Western Hemisphere, with a focus on combating organized crime networks, managing migration flows, and strengthening cross-border law enforcement partnerships. Officials say the Shield of the Americas initiative aims to bring together governments across North America, Central America, and South America in a coordinated effort to address transnational threats, such as human trafficking, drug smuggling, and cartel violence. In this role, Noem is expected to engage with foreign leaders and security officials to promote regional cooperation on border security and migration control. The leadership shakeup at the Department of Homeland Security represents the first major cabinet change of Trump's second presidency and highlights the intense political pressure surrounding immigration and national security policy in the United States. Political analysts say the events leading to Noem's removal demonstrate how quickly controversies involving federal law enforcement operations can escalate into major national debates. As Congress continues to investigate the circumstances surrounding the Minneapolis operation and the internal decisions made within DHS, the political fallout from Noem's tenure is likely to remain a central topic in Washington for months to come. Meanwhile, the nomination of Markwayne Mullin and the creation of the Shield of the Americas initiative signal that the administration intends to maintain a strong focus on border enforcement and international security partnerships across the Western Hemisphere.